I stood in my parents' living room, their eyes filled with disappointment, not at her, not at my brother, but at me. My wife clutched his arm like she belonged there. "You need to be a man about this," she sneered. I stared at them all, heart pounding, mind racing. I was done being the fool. For years, I thought I had the perfect life. A stable job, a loving wife, and a family that valued loyalty. Anna and I had been married for 6 years. We'd met in college, and I honestly thought I'd found my person, the one I'd grow old with. Sure, there were small bumps in the road, like any relationship, but nothing that couldn't be worked through. And then there was my younger brother, Kyle. The golden child. The one who could do no wrong in the eyes of my parents. They adored him. He was charming, charismatic, the kind of guy who could walk into a room and make everyone feel like he was their best friend. I was always the supportive older brother, the one who worked behind the scenes to make sure things ran smoothly. I helped him with his college tuition, set him up with his first job, and never once asked for anything in return. I was proud of him, proud of his accomplishments. But what I didn't know was that pride would turn to disgust. Because my brother wasn't just betraying me in the way that brothers sometimes do. He was betraying me in the worst way possible. It started small, too small to notice at first. Little things. Anna and Kyle would exchange looks across the room at family gatherings, their gazes lingering just a second too long. A quiet joke that only the two of them seemed to get. I told myself I was being paranoid, that maybe I was just imagining things. But every time I brushed it off, something else would happen. One night, I came home early from a work trip. The house was dark, and my stomach twisted with a sense of unease. As I approached the door to our bedroom, I saw a faint glow underneath it, the only light in the house. My gut churned. I wasn't supposed to be home. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. Then I heard it. Laughter. His voice. Her voice. That was all it took to send a cold shiver down my spine. I crept closer, pressing my ear against the door, my heart hammering in my chest. The laughter faded, replaced by muffled sounds I couldn't quite place. I pushed the door open before I could stop myself. There they were, Anna and Kyle, wrapped in each other, tangled in the sheets. Sheets that still smelled like me. The realization hit like a punch to the gut. I stumbled back, unable to process it at first. Anna barely flinched. Kyle just sat up slowly, his smirk as casual as ever. "This isn't what it looks like," she said, her voice cold. "It's exactly what it looks like," Kyle replied, like it was the most natural thing in the world. I don't remember much after that, just shouting, my pulse roaring in my ears. Anna's voice cutting through it all, dismissive, like she was scolding me. "You need to be a man about this." As if I was the one who had done something wrong. I left that night. I thought I'd find solace with my family. I thought they'd be on my side. I thought I could turn to them for support. But I was wrong. Kyle played the victim. He told everyone that he and Anna had fallen in love, that it was all out of their control. My parents, of course, swallowed every word he said. They'd always adored him, he could do no wrong in their eyes. "She's happier with Kyle," my mother told me over the phone one evening, her voice thick with disapproval. "You need to let it go." Let it go? They were asking me to just forget the fact that my wife and my brother had betrayed me in the worst way possible. That they had destroyed the life I'd built for myself. But apparently, it wasn't their problem. It was mine. I spent weeks in a haze. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Everywhere I went, I could feel the whispers behind my back, the pitying looks, the whispered conversations. Kyle and Anna paraded around town like nothing had happened, like they hadn't completely shattered everything. And that's when it hit me. If my family wouldn't stand by me, I didn't need them. I would make sure they all felt what I had felt: betrayal, humiliation, loss. I started watching. Listening. Collecting information. I wanted them to feel the weight of their choices. Kyle was reckless. Always had been. He didn't think things through. It wasn't hard to find out where he worked. He was employed at a financial firm, one that I had connections to. I started digging. It didn't take long to find discrepancies in his accounts. Money he'd been embezzling, moving funds around, covering his tracks just enough to avoid detection. But not enough to escape me. I spent nights collecting every piece of evidence I could, copies of fraudulent transactions, emails where he bragged to Anna about how easy it was to steal. He was sloppy, overconfident. And that would be his downfall. But it wasn't just Kyle I was targeting. Anna, too, had no idea that the house she now shared with him was still legally mine. The deed, the mortgage, everything was in my name. She was living in my house, thinking she had one. So, I stopped paying. I let the foreclosure notices pile up. I watched from a distance as the tension between them grew. Every time a notice arrived, I made sure it was a reminder of the choices they'd made. And when the time was right, I struck. Kyle's firm received an anonymous tip about his financial activities. Investigators swarmed in. He was suspended. His assets were frozen. The once confident golden boy was now on the receiving end of the consequences of his greed. It didn't take long before whispers spread, and Kyle's perfect little world cracked at the seams. Anna? She didn't see it coming. Not at all. I waited until the eviction notice came through before making my move. She stormed into my apartment, furious, her face flushed with rage. You're ruining our lives. She screamed, eyes blazing. No, I said calmly. I'm just being a man about it. Her face drained of color. She stumbled back, shocked. The eviction was just the beginning. It wasn't just their finances that crumbled. The news of Kyle's investigation spread like wildfire. My parents, who had defended him so fiercely, were now desperate to distance themselves. Their golden child was now a disgrace. The perfect image they'd built for themselves was shattered. And in that moment, they realized they'd been wrong about me all along. And the final blow? I made sure Kyle knew exactly who had set his downfall in motion. A week later, Kyle showed up at my door, eyes wild, fists clenched. You did this to me. He shouted, the words dripping with fury. You did this to yourself, I replied, my voice steady. He lunged at me, but I didn't flinch. He had already lost everything: his job, his house, his reputation. There was nothing left for him to take from me. Anna? She didn't stick around when things got tough. The moment the heat was on, she bailed. She was living with some new guy within a month. It was as if she'd never been a part of my life at all. Kyle begged my parents for help, but they were done. Their perfect image, their golden child, they had all been crushed under the weight of his actions. Their disappointment in me had been misplaced. They couldn't even look at me now, not after seeing what their precious son had become. Kyle was the failure. Not me. And me? I walked away from them all. No guilt. No regret. Just freedom. For years, I had let my family dictate my worth. I'd let their opinions shape my self-esteem. I'd lived in their shadow, never questioning it. But now, I saw the truth: I was better off without them. Kyle and Anna had tried to break me. They'd thought they could destroy my life, my happiness, my sense of self. But in the end, they destroyed themselves. Their lies, their deceit, their selfishness, they all came crashing down. And me? I was still standing. I built a new life. It wasn't easy, but it was mine. And as I looked back on everything, I didn't feel anger anymore. Just clarity. Because in the end, justice wasn't about revenge. It was about making sure they could never hurt me again. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's walking away while they're still trapped in the mess they made. And as I left my past behind, I realized I didn't need my family's approval. I never did.